Let's move into finding a partner that you don't know now. So you've had a group, and now find a partner that you don't know, and stand across from them. So Nate, will you be my example here? Will you? So if Nate is my partner, stand directly across from Nate, or not Nate. Stand across from your partner. And what we're gonna do, what we're gonna start with now is finding a neutral position. So what that means is you're facing your partner. You're not looking at me. You don't need to look at me to hear my voice. You're going to have your feet about shoulder. You're gonna have your feet about shoulder width apart. And right now, just let all the need to comment on what's going on just fall away, and work to really quiet the room. And look your partner in the eye. Oh, I know, it's so weird. Really focus on your partner, and remember that while you're looking your partner in the eye, it's as weird for them as it is for you. So what can you do to help make it not weird? One thing, yes, is speaking. We're gonna try it without speaking. Okay? So how do you work to help your partner not crack up? Because we've been doing the crack up performance for like the last 5 minutes, and we're really good at it. So what does it mean to now not do the crack up performance? Decide amongst you who's A and who's B. And so you're not just moving around with your mirror. You have a responsibility, A, to not go too fast. And back to A leading. And now nobody's leading. What happened? Can we see what it looks like when no one's leading?
Or they don't know what to do. One way or the other, they don't know what to do, or they do their own thing.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go back to A is leading. A very interesting thing happened when we started to not have a leader. Well, the first time. What happened?
It just stopped.
It just stopped. Yes, it did. It just stopped. Why did it stop?
Because no one was leading.
Well, we didn't stop. We just went crazy. Like, we just did whatever we wanted to do.
But I think first when you stopped it, when you said it, nobody is leading, we just stopped. It kind of froze for a minute. Then people just started doing their own thing.
Who you are can be also an enormous source of stress. This whole thing hangs on unexamined concepts. I think it's a beautifully way to even think about what we're doing here and what we're pointing to.
Obviously, spelling was not one of mine. Yes.
It's really, really aggressively implying inability, like along with low expectations. They can't go anywhere.
Cultural norm when you walk into a museum, how you act and move through that space, right?
And that the way we learn is to put one thing on top of the other, and that you can't, those are the building blocks on which we learn, and that learning has very, well, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but almost no relationship to development, that learning is just a set of building blocks on top of each other. Building something new, we're going to have to become more adept at creating our own theories, and hopefully not ones that stay the same for 500 years.
This is great. I mean, I could spend hours like this, examining concepts that really do need to be examined. over and over and over and over again. It's such an important activity to be able to do that as we go through our work.
Or fit in and not say the more provocative, challenging thing.
And that's really dangerous. You develop like obesity and diabetes, and God forbid, like develop a heart attack because of all the fat.
I'm looking for ways in, like, what exactly does this world need to make it better, and I think collaborating is a great idea.
Is there a way that they can see some of this? I've seen 4-H over the years, and it's phenomenal.
Free market.
Right.
Sometimes we'll get up to $800 out of the free market. So we'll use that money to do different things. The senior program, we take them to the Senior Olympics in Woodbridge, so we can pay their entry fee. We have a 95-year-old lady who plays pool. Wow. And she's so far, it's a 3-year.
Just tap, tap nice and gently and say, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. So what was weird about it?
Slowing down your breathing.
Slowing down your breathing was weird. Staying with the weirdness. What else? What was weird about it?
I think that that's what happens to the children. Okay, we are saying, I have your back, or we want them to believe we have their back. But how do they feel? Weird, because they don't know who we are, and they don't know that we know their circumstances or they know ours. So that's kind of what I got out of when I said I got your back. Is she confident that I have her back?
Let's replace the but with an and. So you have sentence, yes and, sentence, yes and, sentence, yes and. Let's see. Reunion planning, go.
Okay. I'm thinking that we can have big get together at a restaurant, and we have the biggest cookie that any chefs can make. The biggest cookie in the world.
I think it could be like an ice cream sandwich cookie with the biggest thing of ice cream sandwiched between that cookie.
Yes, and I think we need to hire.
I wish I thought of it.
Okay, we decided that we were going to have a big get-together, and everybody's going to be eating the biggest cookie. And it's going to be filled with ice cream. Ice cream. There's going to be giant ice cream. There's going to be singers and ice cream cookie decorations. And
We end with a giant snowball fight with the ice cream.
What else?
We're gonna have a barbecue of vegan cuisine. And we're gonna swing off a string and jump into the dance floors.
So we are gonna go to Hawaii. We're gonna have Beyonce perform on the beach with Jay-Z and Blue Ivy. We're gonna go see some volcanoes. We're gonna go scuba diving and find treasure.
Our reunion, we're going to make sure we poll everybody because they'll get everything they want. They are going to get their Visa cards, so they can spend it into whatever they want. They'll pay for it. They actually will come with just, you can come to our program. All they have to do is just bring themselves, because we provide the clothes, everything.
Tell me what was different about using the yes but connector and the yes and connector. What, or was there a difference?
Yes, and you're kind of feeding off of each other, so it's more interesting.
Great. Yes.
I enjoyed the yes and because it felt like we were building together, so the energy was very positive. I like that one. The other one just had a little too much resistance, even though we were both laughing. So it was just too much resistance.
Thank you so much for taking the risk of performing and beginning to, while continuing to create and build this ensemble?
In the last 10 days, I have visited 5 of the All-Stars Project's 6 cities. So I was in Chicago last week. I was in Dallas yesterday. I was in Connecticut. I was at our national headquarters in New York. And one of the things that you see, or that I saw in this short period of time, are stakeholders, young people, their parents, educators, business people, CEOs, multimillionaires, people coming together to try to create new solutions in the after-school sector and also in our urban communities. And it's incredibly inspirational or optimistic, even as the flip side is we seem to be going deeper and deeper into crisis in lots of situations. So this young man here at the front row said to me a second ago, he said, days like today, make me feel inspired to be here and to do more. And I certainly feel the same way. The energy here is really incredible. I guess I would sum up my comments by saying All Stars is about building groups. Because it's groups that grow, it's groups that develop. And I think along the way, as we contribute to building groups, that we also grow as individuals. And so to sit here and to look out, and was here this morning, and this grouping touches hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey. And if we can activate that group and build that group, I think that we have some tremendously positive outcomes coming down the pipe. I think we need to find some new ways to work with and support Mayor Baraka, who himself is an educator and community organizer. A lot of different voices here. And so, again, I'm excited to be one of them and to be pulling with all of you. We have a great panel, and they're going to wrap us up.
One thing that I see that works within All Stars Project is the fact that they expose young people to different environments. Like for me, who would ever think that I would one day be sitting in a room full of CEOs and they're telling us about our company, and then they're asking us questions and we're giving them feedback. This type of things like those that give us inspiration, and we want to fulfill, we want to feel like we matter.
And that activity we did is like, I got your back. Like, we as a community need to come together and support each other. And, I tell my staff, it's not about us, it's about the young people all the time. Like, even though we may be stressed and overwhelmed and have a lot on our plates, really thinking about the impact that when we come together that we can have on our young people. And in our working group, someone mentioned we like to cradle our folks, our young people, and keep them in our organizations, but also encourage them to branch out and to connect with other opportunities in the city so that they can, become developed in all different types of arts and movement and expression. So really sharing what we have, because we have so much in this city. So really making sure that we see each other as resources and not as competition, which unfortunately a lot of times, because of funding and because of the landscape that we're working in, we're seen as being against each other. So our teachers who are in the room are our allies and our resources, our parents are our supporters, our cheerleaders. So how can we all be cheerleaders for each other and really make sure that we're creating this thing together?
I think I would add, I was introduced a minute ago. The name of my organization is Afterschool All-Stars, and we are sitting in the All-Stars Project. So this is, and it's interesting because we're national, we're in a number of cities across the country, as is the All-Stars Project. And what I would just say along the lines of leadership and why collaboration and partnership is so important is everything to do with why I'm sitting here now. We arrived in the city about a year ago, and one of the first people I had a chance to spend some time with was Gloria, and she invited me here, and we sat down, and we've remained in contact. We have a very similar name, and I often have had my mail sent over here.
I think we're just beginning, and I like that we're beginning, but I think we got more to do here. I think there's more to do. And now once we come together, I think the next step of leadership is to figure out and create, which we are beginning to do, what are we going to do together?
Right.
what is it we're going to do together? And that may be not one thing, I'm not saying it's one thing, but to be quite serious. And I think that's not a highfalutin question. That's not up here. That is something right there on the ground with us that we need to contribute together on what that looks like so that it's solid and that we can move forward.
We were having a conversation about poverty, and you can tell that the whole room was kind of stirred up about that because, you come from adversity, different situations like that of being poor and things like that. We naturally have the urge to be defensive, and then we're always told that that's embarrassing or that's you shouldn't talk about that. But to open up and mention that and address it and actually say that, hey, this isn't wrong, this isn't right, and then try to come up with solutions to that issue, it really helps create an environment to say, okay, there's something that's going to be done about this.
When we get together often, we don't always have to be so corporate. We can get together and have a good time. We can get together and maybe do something that is outside of the ordinary. Maybe go out to Duke Farms, one of our good community partners, and sit around the table, look at the beautiful landscape, and walk and talk and just start to change, the convenings and what it looks like. It's so sterile. When we get into these rooms, I was just at Prudential recently, and I had to tell everyone in the room, we're working for kids. And when you're working with young people, kids come in with smiles on their faces. They're excited. They're happy. We used to be like that back in.
Right.
Am I wrong? I mean, the work has become so tense, and I still see the inner child in Gloria. I still see your inner child. And it's really in all of us, and that connection, I think, leads to better practices in work.
I think we need to develop a youth development professional pipeline where people see this as a real opportunity and space for them to be in a professional capacity. I think schools of education need to really start to open themselves up to this space as not just like it's nice to be here, but actually a place where real thoughtful, engaging, and important and purposeful work is happening. And so there needs to be that work happening at Rutgers and NJIT, at Essex. So I think institutions of higher learning need to take this work more seriously and need to find ways to create tracks for this to be a degree granting program if it needs to be within universities.
Get to know whom we serve. I know my daughter does not like strawberry ice cream, so I'm not going to bring her strawberry ice cream. But my oldest daughter, she likes strawberry ice cream, so I'll get the Neapolitan and everyone can be happy, right? Because we all have different needs and desires. And when I say get to know, I mean this. When we did a great partnership with Jersey On, because we noticed, we didn't realize what was going on, but we partnered with Rutgers, and Rutgers helped us to get the data to understand that over about 40% of our young people, when they go home, they have no internet connection in their house. But we want to appeal to them, or we say, how are we going to get this message to them, where we can get on the internet, where we're missing out on a major group that will not get this information. They'll be left out in the dark. And so we said, well, how do we circumvent that? And that's what created the Jersey On partnership for us, which is to put internet in the hands of young people regardless of your economical situation in our city. And it really exposed something to me. It showed me that as much as we'll talk about ways to the best of our knowledge of the practices to get the word to people, communicate properly, there are some gaps on the wall, if you will. And what do I mean by that? There are some areas of void that we overlook because we really don't take the time to work with these minds, these great experts, and really talk to these young people and say, what is your issue and problem? Now, mind you, when we issued these great devices to the young people, there were limitations. You couldn't go online and download music, and you couldn't look at movies, and you couldn't, but it was able to connect them properly to get their homework done and to get them connected. And I saw parents coming in and they were just saying, thank you, I can't afford this, but now we're better connected. And I think we need to look at these areas a little bit more, Chris. You know, where are those gaps that we can feel and we can start to work and we can really see the needle move on really helping our community, helping these young people that we're serving. And I will close with this. We need the performing arts. We need the But that is a lopsided applause.
Let's try it again.
No, listen. In Jurassic Park, last week just did, how much did they do? We as a society love the arts. We don't embrace it enough. And when we can start to be more champions for this type of work and engage people and engage and start to push, I think we'll see some areas of growth outside in these streets and these communities. Because guess what? Less than a mile away, we have these fine schools. When these young people get out of school, there are the Bloods, there's the Crips. They have a great pension plan. They have all these, they appeal so well before they can get down here. And so we need to empower these young people to say, no, I'm gonna keep walking past you, and you to get down to here, because I know if I can get here and I can get into a safe space, it'll put me on the collegiate level, it'll put me in the master's level, it'll put me in a doctorate level, and then we'll start to see what I think is going to be the revolution of great change.
One thing I have to,
So we'll come together.
One more thing.
Quick one.
Just one thing to piggyback. As an art education major, I've got more of an understanding of what it is to educate in the arts. Art is not just painting a pretty picture or, acting a play as perfectly as you can. It's a form of expression, and to express what you feel is satisfying, it definitely does something to your emotional state. It makes you feel certain things as far as makes you feel more confident.